It is Sunday, so we got to either have a funny story or a good news story. So we have a funny story. No, good news story. Is it good news? It's not funny. We have a good news story. We do have a good news story that I am excited about, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and smash the like if you haven't done so. If you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share. Okay. Something really good happened here in Massachusetts, and I'm really excited about it, and I hope this spreads to other states. So this has to deal with housing, in particular, home equity. Now, something has been established here, has been written into law that is going to protect people, particularly those if they lose their home. But before we get into the good news there with this law that Governor Healy has signed, I want to start off with, what does equity in a home even mean? So we're going to jump into this video here from Chris Crone. He breaks this down very well, and I love it when people use whiteboards. I love it. I love it. I love it. Draw me a picture. Paint a happy little cloud. Give me a happy tree. Let's Bob Ross this damn thing. Here we go. What is equity in a home?
This house has a value of $100,000, but I moved into it 15 years ago, and I've been paying my mortgage, and the principal's getting paid down. And now after 15 years, I owe $75,000 on the house. So it has a value today of 100,000. I owe 75. And if this is my meter of 0, 25, 50% paid off, 75, or 100%. Take a look at this. Right now, I have a gap of what I owe is 75 and what it's worth is 100, and there's a gap right there of $25,000. It also has to be 25%. I've got a 25% equity position in this house. Now, let's say that I live in the house longer.
And I just want to interrupt here. Obviously, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know any house that's $100,000. but anyway, let's go on.
And I receive a little inheritance, and I decide that I pay my house down to $30,000. How much equity do I have? Well, I owe $30,000. It's worth $100,000. So guess what? There's an equity position here of $70,000. Equity is the difference between what you owe and what it's worth. And that's also what you use to calculate your net worth. So for example, if all I owned was this asset and nothing else, and someone said, well, what are you worth? Well, I don't know, my job, I make $40,000 a year. Cool, but what are you worth? Well, I'm worth $70,000. How'd you arrive at that? Well, my house is worth $100,000. I owe $30,000 on it. I have $70,000 of equity, and that also translates into my net worth.
Pause. So again, remember, this is assuming that you don't have any other outstanding debt. So no medical debt, no student loan debt. I mean, everybody I know had student loans, that type of thing. So your net worth is what you own minus what you owe, right? So he would have a net worth of $70,000, again, assuming he has no other outstanding debt.
So here's where this applies to real estate investing that I absolutely love. Let's say that we were treasure hunting in the market, because this is the way I use that term equity in all my videos. And let's say that I found a home that I was able to purchase for $200,000. And let's say that it had a value of $300,000. If I can buy it for $200 and it's worth $300, then how much equity is there? $100,000, okay? And because the moment I buy it for $200,000, I'm worth that much more money. If I were to sell it in the market for $300,000, you know, other than some costs and seller costs and this and that, there's roughly how much money that I would get? $100,000. So equity is not always usable until you do something like sell the asset, or I could go to my bank and say, I don't want to sell the house, but I want to refinance it with a home equity line of credit.
We're going to stop there. Okay, that's all you need to see so far, because we don't want to get into all the home equity line of credit and refinance, because that'll confuse people. Now, We're talking about what is equity in a home and why this is important when we talk about the story that was just announced here in Massachusetts. I want you to see this. This is good news. Again, yes, we still have a lot to do when it comes to housing, but I'll go ahead and take this one and count it as a win. I couldn't believe this happened. Breaking news. Equity theft is now illegal in Massachusetts, making it possible for some who lost their homes to get money back. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't believe this happened. Governor Maura Healey signed the law into effect on Monday as part of the state's budget. So let's get into what this means and like what this looks like. And I sincerely hope that this happens in other states as well. We got to talk about some of these local wins, because again, this is why I think it's important that people take action locally, that you attend these meetings if you can, whether it's city council, whether it's mayor, whether it's your governor, because this is where a lot of things that are happening that can produce some type of change, it's happening at the local level, not on the federal level. There's a lot of focus on the president, right? And presidential election. And oftentimes people miss what these governors and these mayors are doing. So we have to talk about these local wins and make the push for this in other states as well. I want to make this a little bit larger for people in the back. Yeah. A new law banning cities and towns in Massachusetts from equity theft is now on the books. On Monday, Governor Maura Healey signed the new law that stops municipalities from selling a foreclosed home and keeping more than what is owed in the former owner's equity as profit, as an amendment in the fiscal 2025 budget. So she signed it into law as an amendment. This is huge. Now, if a city or town forecloses on a home due to unpaid taxes and sells it, whatever equity remains after the tax is paid off must be returned to the former home owner. And that was not happening. And let's keep it real. These things happen, right? I mean, there are a number of reasons. We don't want to fault the homeowner. There are a number of reasons why a home could be foreclosed. You never know what people could be going through. An unexpected financial event can appear, and that can cause a complete domino effect to where you may have to foreclose your home. It's just a reality. It happens. People lose their homes. So let's not put the blame on the homeowners. Don't go out of all that. What we want to talk about is the fact that this equity that was owed to the homeowner was not given to them. And now that is going to change. It's a big deal, said Pioneer Public Interest Law Center president and former judge Frank Bailey. Sometimes the homeowners don't always just owe the city or town money. In addition, several municipalities like Springfield, Worcester, and Quincy, or as they say it here in Massachusetts, Quincy. I moved here. I used to call it Quincy. I was like, oh yeah, Quincy, Massachusetts. They're like, Quincy. Sell the tax liens to private debt buyers who keep the entire equity windfall. Now, this is coming from Todd S. Kaplan. He's a senior attorney at Greater Boston Legal Services. Therefore, the excess money doesn't even go back to the municipality, but to private creditors. Of course, right? Quincy. Oh, man. I'm sorry. Anyway, the new law helps those who are house rich and cash poor. With property tax arrears, a path to stabilizing their housing and allowing them to stay in their homes. Now, this is big because I'm thinking about some of these companies like BlackRock that have been known to kind of just slide in and buy up these homes. They did that heavily during the 2008 housing crisis. And I'm like, yeah, man, we have to fight back against We have to fight back against these corporations that come in and they just take up these homes away from these people. So this is not a problem for people who have money. It's a problem for people scraping by who can lose their entire home and all their life savings. With so many people's wealth tied up in their homes, and up until now, they were at risk of losing everything. The state legislation lowers the interest rate on tax arrears from 16% to 8%, allows for waiving all interest, increases longer tax repayment options or plans from 5 to 10 years, and reduces the down payment needed for a repayment plan from 25% to 10%. Each municipality now has the option to offer more flexible repayment plans, but is not required to. The bill is very good. We think it's the most advanced bill passed in the country. You guys hear this? The most advanced bill passed in the country. Now, I'm giving big props to Massachusetts because a lot of times things happen here first. A lot of times we just seem to be the test out state. I don't know why, but it just happens. It goes on to say the law could also apply to people who lost their equity up to 3 years ago. Bailey said cases are being trialed. Cases are being trialed in other states where similar laws are enacted, including class action suits against cities and towns that took property and didn't return the net equity to the homeowners. The statute of limitations on the loss of equity is about 3 years. Now, as you can imagine, not everyone approves. Massachusetts Municipal Association Executive Director Adam Chapdelaine said in a statement that cities and towns are prepared to comply with the new law regarding the foreclosure process. However, he said that local leaders and the Massachusetts Municipal Association are extremely concerned about the portion of the law that makes the Supreme Court decision retroactive to 2 years before its ruling. This punishes cities and towns and will put taxpayers on the hook for those who don't pay. So you see what I'm saying? Now they're trying to blame it on taxpayers. He goes on to say, cities and towns rely on property tax revenue to provide local services, and local officials have long committed to allowing residents to be flexible when they face difficult times. Well, if money is an issue, Mr. Dude, maybe you should talk to Maura Healey and also Mayor Wu, and maybe you should convince them to stop giving money to Israel. Because I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but Boston, Massachusetts gives $10 million a year to Israel. So maybe instead of investing in other and in other places, maybe we need to keep our money right here. There's that. Just a suggestion. I don't know. And it goes on to say here, other states also allow this practice. About 12 states in the U.S. allow this practice according to specific legal foundation. So there's more information about that here. And it also said the fight began in May 2023. Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Tyler versus Hennepin County, that equity theft was unconstitutional because it denied just compensation to a home owner. And I want to give a shout out for that because I think this is huge. We need more good news, and I'm happy. I'm happy this is happening, and I'm like, yeah, man, let's do the damn thing. Great job there. I'm not a fan of Maura Healey. She is corporate. And she's very much in the back pocket of corporations as well. But I'll give credit where credit's due for this again. Like, she's not the one who pushed it, but she signed it into law. So I'm glad that happened. And hopefully this spreads to other states as well. Yeah. Okay.